4.
It's that time of the week again. Welcome to the Gadsden Times Kickoff Show. I'm Teddy Couch. This is Kevin Taylor. And, you know, we're getting late in the season. There's still some confusing playoff scenarios out there.
Right. I thought Teddy was going to have to find him an adult beverage this afternoon when he tried to figure out some of the playoff scenarios for some of the teams just in Etowah County alone. So, you know, we're headed into Week 9. This is pretty much do or die for a number of our football teams across the area. Some will be trying to wrap up a region title. Others will be trying to try to secure a playoff spot, while others are just trying to get ready for basketball season.
Absolutely, and thank you for joining us tonight. Just send us your comments and any questions you may have or comments you want to talk about with any games going on. We've got Gadsden City tomorrow night and then multiple others on Friday. So if you have any questions, just let us know. And if we have a couple people saying hello to Kay and Julie and Mike and Susie and Melinda, we appreciate you joining us tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for joining us. Like I said, we do this pretty much every Wednesday night. Now, next week, we're going to shake up things a little bit because next week we've got games that will be played on Thursday and Friday night. And, oh, by the way, Wednesday night is Halloween. So we're going to take All Hallows Eve off a little bit, and we're going to come to you live Tuesday night at about just maybe a touch before 7 or even 8 o'clock. But we'll definitely let everybody know because we'll be headed into Week 10 of the season and then really looking ahead to the playoffs. And we've got a number of teams just in our area that are in the playoffs who either have already secured a playoff spot or are looking to further solidify a playoff spot. You know, just looking ahead, some just right now, Coosa Christian, they host Valley Head this week, and they've already secured a playoff spot. They already know who they're playing in the first round, and they're a definite lock at number 3 out of their region, and they will go to Anniston to play Donahoe in the first round. And Coosa's coming off a 47-20 win over Woodville last week. That's their 3rd win in a row. And meanwhile, Valley Heads, they're struggling this year. They're 1-7. They lost to R.A. Hubbard 31-0. And so, you know, I would look for Coosa Christian to go to 6-3, and you know, be sitting pretty as a number 3 seed. But I'll also say this: I think Coosa Christian is a dangerous number 3 seed in the Class 1A playoffs. So, you know, looking ahead, I could see Coosa Christian going a little bit deeper than just the first round.
I would not want to be hosting the Coosa Christian in the first round, especially you look at Dartavius Britton, you have Caden Lipscomb at quarterback, who, by the way, he's got old Evan Delp out there at receiver.
Right.
That's pretty scary right there just looking at them.
Yeah.
And those kids play both ways, obviously, at the 1A level, and they play well both ways. So.
And Delp had kind of a breakout week last week. I think he had well over almost 200 yards receiving last week against Woodville. So, you know, he started off the season a little bit slow because, you know, pretty much the book was out on him. He's a big play receiver, and so it was a matter of, okay, do you double team him? How do you play him? A lot of teams did double team him and limited his targets, but then here in the last few weeks, his number of targets have increased, and his production also has increased.
I know last week, I want to say Dartavius Britton had 12 carries, about 60 yards, which, you know, they were loading the box, no safety, which equals Evan Delp having a big night. So,
That's
I mean,
right.
You kind of pick your poison with Coosa.
You really do. You really do, Teddy. Just looking ahead to further some of the other games that are coming up this Friday night. West End goes to Woodland. Westbrook is at Cleveland. Southside's at Crossville. Sardis goes to Albertville. Hoax Bluff hosts Jacksonville in a huge Class 4A clash. Glencoe goes to Sachs. Gadsden is hosting Ohatchee. Gadsden City tomorrow night will be in Huntsville again, and they play Grissom. and then Boaz goes to Etowah. And that's just some of the teams just in Etowah County who are playing. And Teddy, you've got a list of the others just kind of outside the area. Who else is playing?
You have Alexandria is traveling to Douglas. Cedar Bluff travels to Collinsville. Cherokee County hosts Cleburne County. Fort Payne hosts Coleman. Fife hosts Otter. Galesville hosts Falkville. Geraldine travels to Sylvania. Piedmont hosts Walter Welborn. Plainview hosts Pisgah. Sandrock travels to Asbury, and Asheville hosts Anniston.
Wow. Yeah, there's some, like I said, there's some huge games there in Week 9 that will pretty well determine who's in, who's out in the playoffs. And then even Week 10 could be a pivotal week, especially for those in terms of tiebreakers. So, you know, let's kind of dive into this week. West End's at Woodland. West End still looking for a win. They fell to Gadsden last week, 42-34. Woodland, they lost to Westbrook Christian, 56-21. These two teams don't know each other. They haven't played each other ever, so this will be the first matchup. And so West End's having to go to Randolph County. You know, Woodland traditionally has not been a down team. I remember just a few years ago that Woodland played for a state championship. West End, they're struggling. Their defense is just not up to par. I see Woodland coming away with another win, and West End again searching for their first win.
West End really struggled defensively, as you say. I want to say they're giving for a little over 50 points a game. Last week against Gadsden, I know Cameron Hawkins just kind of did whatever he wanted to.
Wow.
What did he finish with?
452 yards.
What a night for him.
And 4 touchdowns.
I know they've had trouble stopping the run all year long, and so I think Woodland comes out with a win as well.
Yeah. Westbrook is at Cleveland. Westbrook's 5-3. Cleveland's 5-3. Westbrook, like I said, topped Woodland last week, 56-21, and Cleveland shut out Douglas 47-0. Cleveland comes in with a 3-game winning streak, and as a matter of fact, the last time these two teams played, Cleveland beat Westbrook in 2007, 23-20. That was then. This is now. Westbrook is a much improved football team. Week in, week out, they're getting the job done. Cleveland, I just don't see them having the firepower to match Westbrook. I see Westbrook winning by 4 points.
This game is huge because obviously both teams are in. You know, the winner gets the 3 seed, the loser gets the 4 seed. The reason this game's big because the loser has to travel to this team named Fife.
Wow.
You don't want to travel to Fife at any point in the playoffs, especially in the first round.
Nope.
So this is a huge game.
Yeah.
You know, simply just so you don't have to play Fife.
Exactly.
So I'm with you. I got Westbrook coming out on top in this one. I think it's going to be a good one. If you really look at the numbers, they kind of match up pretty well. Both of them, I think Cleveland's scoring a little more, but defensively is about the same. But I'm going with the Warriors. They're playing some good football, and I have them come out on top.
Well, we want to know what you guys think. Thank you for joining us tonight live on Facebook Live. We're looking ahead to tomorrow night's game with Gadsden City and Grissom, but then also the rest of Week 9 starting Friday night. Looking at another team, probably one of the hottest teams in Etowah County right now. I'm sorry, Hoax Bluff. I know you're undefeated. I'm sorry, Etowah. I know you're undefeated. But right now, probably one of the hottest teams going right now is Southside. Southside comes off a huge win over Boaz last week to win their 3rd in a row, 45-25. Crossville, they go to Crossville. Crossville's struggling this year. They're 1-7. They lost to Sardis 50-25. They've lost their last 4. And then the last time these two teams played was before you were around, and believe it or not, before I was around, and before computers were around. 1933, Southside won 13-0. I kind of like that score. That's an interesting score. But Cat Bothwell and Southside, they're playing strong football right now. I kind of see that final score actually being 33-0 Friday night over Crossville. I think the Panthers just roll, and they further solidify that playoff spot and quite possibly being a first-round playoff host.
I think Cat Buffalo puts up more than 13 points, by himself, rushing and probably receiving. Cat's I think he's going to have a big game as he has here lately. He's played well all season long, but it seems like as this season's progressed, he's just a whole different running back. I mean, he's just running angry, he's running tough, and he's been hard to bring down. And he was just so big for them last week against Boaz. And so I think, this is a different game for Southside, though, because this is kind of the first time they've been the favored team,
Yeah.
So, that's one thing Coach Ron Doherty pointed out to me when I talked to him earlier in the week. He's like, we're the favorites now. So I'm curious to see how we handle that. And then also you got to consider, too, it's senior night and homecoming all in one night at Barney Hood Stadium.
Wow.
So, that's a lot of things for them to deal with, but I think Southside will handle it well, and I think Southside wins big.
Yeah, Southside, like I said, hottest team in Etowah County, playing really good right now. And if a lot of the teams around here, be lucky you don't have to play them because they are super hot right now.
Yeah, and that win would clinch to host the first round of the playoffs. That clinched the number 2 seed for them. So this is a big, big game.
Big game. Coming up next, Sardis is going to Albertville. This one has been a bit of a rivalry, if you will. Sardis 3-5, Albertville 4-4. Albertville's already clinched a playoff spot. They know who they're playing in the first round. They go to Pinson Valley in the first round. Sardis, they're on the outside looking in. Sardis beat Crossville last week 50-25. Meanwhile, Albertville lost a heartbreaker to May Jemison 21-14. Last time these two teams played was 1965, and Albertville won 34-13. I kind of believe that the Aggies are going to keep that streak alive, and I think they're going to bounce back from that tough loss to May Jemison. I see them beating the Lions. I see them winning by 1 point.
It's going to be an interesting battle in terms of running backs. You got Drew Vaughn over at Sardis, been a great running back, his whole time with the Lions. And then also you have Jacob Dendy at Albertville.
Yeah.
I got to see him against Boaz, and what a show him and Christian Collins both put on. But Jacob Dendy's he's a really good back, and I just see him leading the Aggies to the win there.
Yeah, he is really shown himself as one of the top backs in Northeast Alabama. But I hate to say it, but this area is just loaded with tremendous backs.
Yes.
And probably one of the times that I cannot remember seeing a number of talented running backs as we have this year in the area. Look, further games ahead. Glencoe's at Sachs. Sachs was ranked number 1 in Class 3A last week, and they lost to Randolph County 41-21. Like I said, their first loss of the season. Glencoe still looking for their first win of the season. They lost to Weaver last week 42-13. Sachs is going to be really angry, and I really would hate to have to play Sachs right now. I look for Sachs to come away with a big win over Glencoe.
So I remember that's actually what I was looking up. I know Sachs, they had to play them coming off a loss, and then that's for this week, and then they had to do the same thing with Piedmont. Piedmont's coming off a 2-game loss, so that's just kind of interesting for them. Not only are they playing in a tough region, I know they're kind of in rebuilding mode, but they're having to play these teams coming off losses, and you don't want to do that playing against these type of teams. So
right.
I got Sachs winning big as well.
Gadsden hosts Ohatchee. Ohatchee 7-0 in Class 2A. Gadsden coming off a big win over West End to capture their first win of the season. Cameron Hawkins, my God, what a tremendous night he had. 452 yards rushing. That was actually the 5th most number of yards rushed for in a single game in AHSAA history. And, I'm almost wondering if he hadn't just scored another touchdown on West End just a second ago. This cat was just unbelievable on the field. Ohatchee 28-0 over Ranburn. And the last time these two teams played was in 2005, and Gadsden beat Ohatchee 20-7. Ohatchee's just playing really good football right now. I look for the Indians to knock off Gadsden probably by 14 points.
Yeah, I think Ohatchee's going to be a big winner here. They're going to keep rolling, heading into the playoffs, and I think Redskins win big.
Yeah. Tomorrow night.
I called them the Redskins over the Indians.
They are. Close enough.
Shame on me. Shame on me.
That's okay. We won't count off too much. tomorrow night, Gadsden City goes back to Huntsville, and they play Grissom. Gadsden City 2-6. They've lost. They've won. I'm sorry. They've won their last two. They beat Huntsville last week, 27-7. Grissom, they fell to Florence, 47-13. Grissom's 3-5. Another key statistic with Grissom is that they have never beaten Gadsden City since in the two teams' history. So, do they keep that? Does Gadsden City keep that streak alive, Teddy?
Remember whenever you said that earlier I needed an adult beverage? Figuring out Gadsden City's playoff scenario is the reason why you said that.
Yeah.
It is just crazy. I do think Gadsden City beats Grissom. They're just rolling right now, and I think that Grissom, I think they're going to be able to handle Grissom pretty well. I think it benefits them that they're playing on Thursday night because Gadsden City needs to win this game, but not only that, they need a couple other things to kind of go their way. But since those games are on Friday night, Coach Bart Sessions don't have to worry about his kids like, what's the score of this game? What's the score of that game? Because nothing else is happening. So I think them playing a day before really benefits the Titans, and I think the Titans come away with the win.
I agree. I think Gadsden City comes away. A few weeks ago, I would have said I would have probably given the nod to Grissom, but after these two huge wins by Gadsden City, knocking off Florence and then beating Huntsville last week, I see Gadsden City's on a roll right now. I see them beating Grissom. I'd say they win by at least 10 to 14 points.
Here's the thing that Gadsden City needs to happen. If you're a Gadsden City fan, this is the easiest path for Gadsden City to make the playoffs. Obviously, Gadsden City's got to beat Grissom. And then Friday night, you need to be big Huntsville fans and you need to be big Florence fans because Huntsville plays Bob Jones and then Florence plays Sparkman. If those two teams win, being Huntsville and Florence, Gadsden City should be the 4 seed. Now, there are other ways where it's a 4-way tie, and it just gets absolutely insane. I think it goes down to a tiebreaker K or J, and it's just it gets us crazy. And I feel like Gadsden City would not make the playoffs in that 4-way tie, but I don't want to say for sure. I'm not 100% sure on that. Yeah. But by far the easiest way is just what I laid out. Gadsden City winning, and Huntsville beating Bob Jones, and Florence beating Sparkman. Gadsden City would be the 4 seed in that scenario, with Florence being the 3 seed.
Wow. Like I said, I can't keep up with it all. I don't know, and I don't see how you did. But, like I said, Gadsden City's got to have some help, and but in terms of that, they've got to take care of business tomorrow night and knock off Grissom before any of these scenarios come into play. So, but like I said, I see the Titans winning again. They're 3rd in a row. Then also Etowah, 9-0, looking for their first 10-0 season since 1999. In 1999, Etowah won the state championship and went 14-0.
What was that running back's name again for them? Was that that Carnell Williams guy? Remember him?
Yeah, I don't. Was he pretty good?
He was okay. I think he went on and made a pretty big name for himself. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
I think he won an SEC title too, didn't he?
Yeah, he was pretty good. There's no doubt about that. Yeah. So I mean, that's a big company for the 2018 Etowah team. For
it
sure.
Would be. It certainly would be. And it seems like Etowah is just they're just doing what they do. They take care of business. Last week they beat Alexandria 27-7. I really thought that this was going to be a trap game for Etowah. Playing at Alexandria, it's just a tough place to play. I don't care who you are. And, Etowah just took care of business, coming away with a 20-point win. Boaz, this is gut check time for them. Having lost to Southside 45-28, maybe the Pirates got caught looking ahead to the matchup with Etowah. And it bit them. And so this is going to be a huge game Friday night in Attala, but I just see Etowah doing what they do. They're not the number 2 team in the state of Alabama for just on a fluke. They are number 2 for a reason. And so I look for them to complete the regular season undefeated and knock off Boaz.
Brad Scott said 7A Region 3 is crazy. All 4 playoff teams have a chance to get to 1 seed. We do need to bring that up here in a second once we get to talk about Etowah.
Yeah.
But I do want to kind of roll off a couple of things about Etowah. They're on an 18-game home win streak, 17-game regular season win streak, 12-game region win streak. They have a 7-game win streak against Boaz. And as you mentioned, this is the first time they've been 10-0 since 1999. But this would also be the first time in Coach Drew Knowles' career that he's ever coached a team to a 10-0 record. I think he's got 9-1 a couple of times, but this would be the first time in his career.
Yeah.
This would be the 600th game win in Etowah school history.
Wow.
9th consecutive year that Etowah's made the postseason, and the 13th consecutive year that Coach Drew Knowles has led a team to the postseason. Oh, and by the way, the first 7 of those years were with Boaz. So pretty interesting.
Yeah, a little bit of history there with Drew Knowles and Boaz. So, yeah.
I know Christian College is a great back. He's a very tough runner, probably one of the more tough runners I've seen this year. And I'm really curious to see that matchup between Etowah and Christian Collins.
Yeah.
But I think Etowah's going to do what they've done all year.
Yeah.
I really think that Etowah's going to stuff the run. I'm curious to see how much Christian Collins does run for. But I think Etowah wins this one. I think they win by a few scores.
Wow. Yeah. Like you said, and thanks for everybody joining us. And like one of our viewers said, 7A Region 3, what a hot mess that is. Thompson, Hoover, Hewitt Trustful, Mountain Brook. I mean, they're all just jumbled in there together. And this Friday night, I think things will become a little more clear in terms of who ends up getting the region championship in that for that area. But then just really in 7A alone, I know Central Phoenix City plays Auburn in for a region championship Friday night as well. And so, the 7A playoff scenario is going to really shape up after Friday night. And I'll be interested to see what all shakes out.
I'm interested to see who wins between Jacksonville and Hokes Bluff.
Oh, yeah. Are they playing?
That game is going to be huge.
Yeah.
That's one we've been talking about for how long now? It's been a while.
Wow, it has been. Hokes Bluff, number 2 in Class 4A versus number 3, Jacksonville, 9-0. This Friday night, last week Hokes Bluff came from behind to beat Cherokee County 21-17. Jacksonville all over White Plains 27-8. The last year Jacksonville knocked off Hokes Bluff 28-27 when Hokes Bluff, I believe, tried a 2-point conversion and they could not punch it across for the win, and so that was a disappointing loss for Hokes Bluff last year. Jacksonville, they're looking for their first 10-0 season since 1999 as well. And, oh, by the way, in the second round of the playoffs, they played a team called Etowah and ended up getting thumped in the playoffs. Jacksonville ended up finishing the season 11-1 that year. Again, this is a matchup where you have 2 marquee backs. And, you've got Darian Meads, and then you've also got Ron Wiggins from Jacksonville, and probably 2 of the better backs in Northeast Alabama going head-to-head. But what the key will be here is going to be who can stop each other. And, I think it's going to come down to turnovers. And also it's going to come down to special teams. I think whoever can flip the field on the other and force long drives, that's the one who's going to end up winning the ball game. I think Hokes Bluff is just a little bit stronger than Jacksonville, but maybe not by much. So I look for the Eagles to come away with a 4-point win Friday night.
The thing that interests me when you look at both teams' schedule, you look at the non-region schedule, and I feel like Jacksonville's is a little tougher.
Yeah.
When you go play the teams like J.B. Pennington, Alexandria, and Piedmont. Not that that Hokes Bluff isn't tough. They played Southside, Glencoe, and then they'll have Sardis next week to end the season. But I feel like theirs is a little more tough than.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I'd say Jacksonville's schedule is a little more stout than than Hoax Bluff when it comes to non-region.
But like you said, defensively, I think it's key. We talk about the running backs with Wiggins and Meads, and that's obviously a big factor. But I think defensively is huge too. Look at Hoax Bluff; they're only giving up 10 points a game. Yeah. And they're stout. They don't give up much points. And you look at Jacksonville; they're kind of giving up. 21, 33, 21, 20, 21 the next week. It's just they're giving up points, but they're outscoring everybody.
Right.
And they very well could do that with Hoax Bluff. But with that defense that the Eagles have, I just have to give the edge to them, especially with them being at home. Mm-hmm. This would be a big one. Like I said, I want to say 7-game losing streak against the Golden Eagles for Hoax Bluff. So I got Hoax Bluff come out on top. I wouldn't be shocked either way, but I definitely look for this one to be close.
Well, I know there's one guarantee, and that's going to be that Mike Robinson Field, that entire stadium's going to be packed to the hilt, and hopefully it'll be standing room only. I feel quite confident it will be as big of a ball game as it will be. So like I said, this is week 9. We're trying to wrap up everything in terms of who's going to be in the playoffs, who's not, and where they go. And we are getting very close to figuring that all out. Be sure to go online to thegadsdentimes.com and check out our game preview stories. Then on Friday nights, also go to thegadsdentimes.com. Check out all of our photo galleries, videos, and game stories that we'll have for you. And hopefully we'll also give you a little bit better insight into some of the playoff matchups coming up. They won't all be determined Friday night. There will be some games or some matchups that won't be determined until after week 10. So just be patient, and it's almost like waiting on Christmas. When we said beginning of the football season, it was like waiting on Christmas. Well, now Christmas has come again, and it's going to be in November, and that's when playoffs get started.
We may be trying to figure out who's going to be in the playoffs for football, but we already know about who's in it for volleyball.
Absolutely. Tomorrow is going to be a busy day for Teddy and I. We'll be at the Von Braun Center in Huntsville. A number of our teams from our area will be in action. Just some of the teams that will be in action, just to throw out a few: Fife, Ohatchee, Cedar Bluff, Sandrock, Westbrook Christian, Glencoe, Susan Moore, Geraldine, Arab, Boaz, Southside Gadsden, Alexandria, Brewer, Crossville, and Albertville. Albertville will be playing Thursday late, and golly, it's going to be crazy tomorrow. You're going to see as many as 6 matches there in the Von Braun going at one time, and so in terms of our area folks, I can see quite a few actually could end up playing Friday night or Friday afternoon in the semifinals of the regional. How many will make it to the state tournament, we don't know just yet, but there are some that I feel quite confident that could make a strong push. I think Southside could make a strong push to make it to the state tournament, but that's why they play these games.
Right, we have 3 Etowah County teams that did make it to the North Super Regional. Tomorrow you'll have Class 3A Area 11 runner-up Glencoe. They'll be playing Area 9 winner Fultondale at 9 a.m. And you have Southside, who won the Class 5A Area 12 championship against the defending Class 5A state champions Alexandria. Wow. Huge win for them. I think that they won that 3-1. They'll be playing Area 10 runner-up Moody at 10:15 in the morning. And then Westbrook, they won the Class 2A Area 11 championship. They will be playing Area 9 runner-up Ramburn at 12:45 p.m. So, and if they win, they'll be playing around 6:30, 5 o'clock, depending on which team it is. But they'll be playing in the evening time. And so, like you said, Southside's got a good shot. Yep. You got Macy Williams, Lauren Hunt, Alexis Thompson. A lot of those girls are they're so good. They play so many sports together, and that's with all the teams. I mean, they play basketball together. Some of them play softball. They all play basketball together. I mean, it's just. They have that camaraderie together, and they play very well, and you can tell. It just shines in every sport that they play. Yep. So we got some good volleyball teams around here for sure.
Yep, and we just can't ignore that. And so Like I said, Teddy and I will be in Huntsville tomorrow morning, first thing, and a number of our area teams are going to be. They're going to open up the morning with be in action. So be sure to go to thegadsdentimes.com. I'll have a photo gallery started hopefully around noontime or so you can check out some of the action from some of the games. And then, of course, Teddy will have his story and or stories, if you will, in regards to some of our teams around the area.
Yeah, and I'll be hanging around all day in Huntsville. I'll be a Huntsville native,
yeah,
as I'll stay and hang around to see Gadsden City play Grissom. So I'll have updates on all that stuff on Twitter. You can find me at Teddy_Couch, and I'll have updates throughout the day for volleyball and football.
Super. And like I said, be sure to join us Friday night, say about 11 o'clock. We're going to try to be on Facebook Live again. We'll have results from the hopefully from the volleyball regionals as well as the football games. Just a quick rundown of some of the teams that will be playing Friday night just from our area. Coosa Christian will be hosting Valley Head. West End's at Woodland. Westbrook is at Cleveland. Southside's at Crossville. Sardis is at Albertville. Hoax Bluff hosts Jacksonville. Glencoe's at Sachs. Gadsden hosts Ohatchee. Tomorrow night, Gadsden City will be playing in Huntsville against Grissom, and Etowah will be hosting Boaz. Some great games going on.
Yeah, absolutely. We thank you for joining us tonight. We have Southside is playing at home. They're playing at Barney Hood Stadium against Crossville.
My mistake.
So that's senior night and homecoming for the Panthers against Crossville. So that's going to be a big one. They can wrap up that 2 seed and host the playoffs, the first round. So big one for the Panthers tomorrow night. And we thank you for joining us, and we hope you join us again Friday night. Just come and watch any games. Just if you have any questions, come send it to us, and we'll do our best to answer them. And we appreciate you joining us tonight.
Absolutely. Our time is out. We thank you for yours.